Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how a productive day of studying looks like for me, and also how I study and some study tips that I think will help you be more productive. I really want to bring more productivity and organization videos to my channel, so if you like this type of videos, let me know. My day starts at 5:45 a.m. I know that can be too early for a lot of people, but I like to wake up this early because I can't wake up and stand up straight away. I need like 30 minutes to really wake up, and then I can go on with my day. After this time, I take a shower and I prepare my breakfast. Here I'm making milk with coffee because that's normally what I eat for breakfast every day, and I use this time to check social media before I start studying. After my breakfast, I try to make time to meditate before I start studying. Sometimes I don't do it, but if I have time, I try to meditate, and I'm using Headspace as my meditation guide. This is not sponsored, and I just use the basics over and over again because they work well for me, and I only use this app to really focus when it's one of those times where I can't do meditation by myself. After my meditation, I look at my schedule for the day to see everything that I have to do and to change my tasks for the day, basically reviewing my day before I start studying, which is when my day officially starts. I update my bullet journal with the completed tasks from the previous day and the new tasks for the actual day. What you're seeing right now on my computer, it's my Google Calendar. It's where I organize all my life and my tasks for the day. And on my wall, this is a kind of a way to organize your tasks that I discovered recently. I'm going to leave the video about this in the description, but it's basically a place where you have your tasks divided into columns. And this really has been helping me to prioritize my tasks and to know what I should worry about now and what should I do later. And I have my tasks color coordinated, so blue is for school, purple is for bullet journal, and green is for my business. At 8 a.m. I start studying, and that is actually my first study tip, which is know your routine. I feel like it's so important to know at what time you want to start studying and at what time you want to stop. Visually really helps you to see how much time you have to study, and also helps you manage your time. For me, I use Google Calendar to plan my routine, and as you can see, I start studying at 8 a.m. and I stop studying/working at 8 p.m. So I know that I have 12 hours to study and to do everything that I want to do in a day. I will make a video showing you how I organize my day and how I plan daily, weekly, and monthly, and I will go more in depth on this topic on that video. But basically, I plan all my day on Google Calendar, and on those hours, as you can see, I have to do everything I need to do. So right now I'm going to study for an hour and a half because I like to divide my day into 1 hour and a half study sessions and then take a 30-minute break because that is what works for me. If you're wondering what I'm studying, I'm taking my CCNA certification, which is an IT certification from Cisco, and that's what I'm studying right now. After this study session, I take a 30-minute break. I like to divide my day into 1 hour and a half study sessions and then take a 30-minute break. You can try to divide your study sessions in 25-minute sessions and do the Pomodoro method, or to study for an hour and then take a break. Just try to divide your study sessions into like blocks so you don't study for like 5 hours non-stop. On these breaks, I normally do yoga to stretch my body, and I snack on something if I'm hungry, and I spend a couple of minutes with my family. After the break, it's time to go back to work, and here I'm taking more practice exams because I found that it's the best way to study this. Probably for most of you, taking exams is not the best way to study, so my next tip is exactly to try different methods of studying. I tried to rewrite my notes that I took in class, I tried flashcards, I tried to summarize what was in my books and make it pretty for Instagram, and nothing worked. I always felt unmotivated and that I was wasting time, so taking practice exams really helped me to understand everything. I also write on a Word document and on a notebook everything that I answered wrong in the practice exams, so I'm not writing everything, but I'm writing what I answered wrong, that it's probably what I don't understand and need to know in order to pass my exam. The notes that I write are not pretty, they are only color coordinated with each topic, so I can search for something just by looking at the color. And this was one of the things that I struggled a lot in the beginning, because I always tried to make my notes pretty with calligraphy and only use one highlighter and to make them very neat and all that stuff. And I learned that it's better to have useful notes that help you understand the concepts instead of having pretty notes just to post on Instagram, because when I was making those notes, I was only focused on making them perfect instead of understanding what I was writing. But of course, if that helps you and motivates you to study, I think that it's a good study method. My friends do these types of pages and it seems to work for them, so you do you, but I recommend that if you haven't found a study method that works for you, or that you feel that it's not helping you, keep trying different methods, because there are a lot of methods that you can try and that can feel right for you. Another little extra thing that I think is going to help you is having a good communication with your teachers. Your teacher knows better than anyone what do you need to know to pass the tests and in which topics you are good and bad in. So try to talk to your teachers if you have some questions, and if you are not understanding a topic, or even book an hour with him so he can explain to you everything that you don't know. Believe me, now I have an awesome teacher that answers to all my questions about CCNA, and that it's super helpful, and I feel like that is helping me a lot. So I know that if you try to have good communication with your teacher, that is going to help you a lot too. When my study session is over, I normally relax for a bit. I am not tired of studying yet, but I always take time before lunch to relax, because it's really important to separate your relax time to your study time, and I truly believe that in order for you to focus on something important like school, you should clear your mind and not feel overwhelmed by that. So, as I mentioned, taking breaks is important, and now that's what I'm doing again. I'm checking social media to just forget about work for a bit, and then I'm going to read a book. This day I was reading Call Me By Your Name, and reading is a good escape if you don't want to think about anything else unless the book you're reading, which I found that it's one of the best things to de-stress from your work. After a half an hour-ish of reading, I had lunch with my family. After lunch, I study again. These are all my notes that I have in my Word document, and now I'm just going to organize them by putting the notes in the correct chapter and highlighting what needs to be highlighted. And I, in fact, decided to do this at the study session because sometimes I write a lot of notes from the exams and then they look unorganized and out of place. So I try to do this after 2 or 3 sessions to keep them organized. And this is one of the tips, which is specifying what you're going to study. If you are in school or college, you obviously have a lot more subjects than I do, and specifying if you're going to study history or math or English is super important, because you don't have to choose in that minute what you're going to study. Everything is already planned when you plan your day the day before. And you know that on that block you're going to study that. So specifying what subject are you going to study and to focus on that study session, it's really important. And actually, most important is specifying how and what exactly you are going to study. For example, you have history, you have different chapters, and you also have different ways of studying history. You can do revision notes, you can read your textbook and highlight the important parts, you can do practice exercises, but sometimes if you don't specify what you're going to study on that study session or what chapter you're going to study, can become really boring because you're always writing notes or always reading textbooks. And I found that if you alternate different ways of studying, it can be more motivated to study because you're kind of spicing things up. I normally do practice exams and then I revise my notes. Other days I start the day by reading my notes before I take the exam, so I'm more prepared. And other days I write the notes on my notebook first. Changing things up a bit is what makes studying and everything more interesting. After the first study session of the afternoon, I'm already feeling like I don't want to study anymore, so I try to have a little getaway from studying, and I do Instagram stuff and bullet journal just to relax and de-stress. Here I was taking a picture of a spread that I made to post on my Instagram, and I was watching catnip. So an hour has passed and it's time to do one last study session, but this time more chill. I'm only going to study for an hour because at this time I'm tired and I don't want to study, but I have one thing that I like to do when I'm in this mood, which is math exercises. Yes, you heard me right. Doing math exercises really wakes me up and it's more interesting to me. So I'm doing like subnetting exercises, which is basically dividing a network address into smaller groups, and I also need to know how to convert decimal numbers to hexadecimal numbers and to binary numbers. So I just search for exercises on that, and I do them for like an hour, because even though I don't need to do those things in the exam, or at least I think I don't, but I need to know those things for work, you know, if I want to get a job in IT. So the trick here is knowing your most productive time of the day, and for me it's in the morning, so I like to have my mornings to fully study and do the tedious things that I have to do, and as the day goes I do things that are more fun, like planning my next month or editing a video, or like I'm doing right now, a bullet journal for a client. It's important to know when you're more productive and motivated to study and when you're less productive, so you can prioritize your tasks and have a productive day and time to do everything that you want to do. After I had dinner with my family, I tried to completely stop working on whatever I was doing previously, because as I said at the beginning of the video, my day ends at 8 p.m. and now it's later than that. So the only thing related to work that I do is planning my next day and updating my bullet journal. This is the time that I use to organize my room and prepare myself to go to bed. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you liked this video about productivity. I really want to explore these types of videos in the future, so you can leave your opinion down below, and I'll see you in my next video.